Good evening, and welcome to the St. Petersburg by Night podcasting network. Tonight, we present to you our Werewolf the Apocalypse Chronicle, Hounds.
Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing Gaia of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the world's forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Fuck you, never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network. St. Petersburg by Night is a World of Darkness role-playing community originating in St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Kent on all social media, and I will be your storyteller tonight. It's Friday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Hounds, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle set in Tampa Bay, Florida, where a pack of young guru have traveled from Michigan to assist the Sept of the Evening Star in combating the forces of the worm, both physical and spiritual. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media listed in the description down below, and you can join our community by following that Discord link where you could take part in one of the many activities we have running all month long. We are now offering for players to run or play in 20th Anniversary or Chronicles of Darkness games as well, so head on over and join our community today. Now, let's introduce our players. Players, go ahead and introduce yourselves, if you please.
Hi, it's me. I may look a little different, but it's still me, Nikki, and I will be playing Delphine Ruinspeaker, the Silent Strider Theurge.
Hello everybody, my name is Jay, or you can also call me Vox Populi, the people's voice, and I'll be playing Forged from Failure, the Bone Gnawer Rune.
Hi everybody, I am literally just a girl, and I will be playing Juniper Camine, the Ragabash Black Fairy.
Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Ben, and I'll be playing Raymond Gorn, the Ghost Council Philodox.
Now let's get everybody caught up. Last week was the encounter, the showdown, the attack, as the pack got together to ambush or set a trap for the infected kindred that has been haunting the area as of late. They put their plan into motion. Entering the Umbra from the cairn, they were going to cross the city to the amphitheater, where they would emerge from the Umbra once the infected leech and any of their minions were drawn into one of the secluded fairgrounds buildings. However, the journey through the Umbra wasn't as comfortable for one of the pack mates, as the consequences of their past actions came back to quite literally haunt them. However, with some involvement by the Theurge, they were able to temporarily stave off the haunting of Juniper Camine. Very temporarily, because once they had arrived at the amphitheater, everything was going to plan. They had set the bait and the leech had been lured in, except the leech did not come in alone, as they brought in many, many minions, including a 15-foot tall hulk of a pieced together creation that was going to cause some problems. But once the attack started, everything seemed to be going well for the pack. They were staving off most of the creations as they were being destroyed one by one by Forged and Raymond and Juniper. Delphine was helping and assisting by hucking Molotov cocktails that would stop the other creatures from advancing. But then things started to get a little bit more dangerous, as Juniper was continuing to be haunted by the ghosts of her past, which caused her to have a little bit more of a struggle in the fight. Delphine decided to take some actions into her own hands and move forward into the conflict. She was the first to encounter the leech themselves, who almost took her down completely in the process. But when all is said and done, they were successful in their mission. But many of the pack members walked away with wounds that aren't so easily healed, as the effects of Hirano and Hoglosk began to take hold to various members of the Hellhounds because of how brutal the encounter had been. After that, we saw Raymond have a conversation with Stakes, where he may have finally been convinced to speak his truth to the rest of the pack. When will that happen, and will he tell the whole truth? That only remains to be seen. But let's get into tonight's story with our first scene. Our first scene takes us to the cairn of the Sept of the Evening Star. It's late afternoon, the sun dappling through the trees, a brief chill on the air as winter continues to sink its claws ever deeper into the area of Florida. Now, what is considered cold for a Floridian is much, much warmer for everyone else. And as the Hellhounds have only been here a little less than a year, it's probably still a comfortable warm, maybe even hot for most of them. Raymond, you wished to meet with Charles to debrief about the mission and to find out your next assignment. What's going through your mind as you approach the elder guru and mentor to the pack?
Ray is going into the conversation a little excited in a way, because he gets to tell Charles that they succeeded the mission and that everything that they've been planning by themselves worked out, that the trust that was put in the pack, that was put in all of us, was not misplaced, and that we are able to accomplish the goal set out to us. So on that front, Ray's going to be happy to explain the situation to him. On the front of what's next, he's a little worried that there might not be something immediately lined up, because if we have time to rest, then potentially our momentum might slow down, and that's a little worrisome. But we do need time to rest, just hopefully not too long.
So as you cross the clearing of the cairn, headed towards the hand-carved wooden meeting table, you find Charles present in the seat of the worm foe. And as you approach, he stands from his seat in a form of etiquette, gesturing to one of the other seats to you before sitting down once more.
I'll nod when Charles rises and walk over to the seat that he gestured at and pull it out and take a spot.
So, Raymond, you wish to meet. I assume it has to do with your last encounter with the infected leech.
Yes. I needed to report what happened in the situation. I'm sure you kind of know the conclusion of what happened, but getting as many details as possible about what happened will help me digest what happened and hopefully glean any new information to you that you may not know.
Well, I can smell Delphine's blood all over one of the RVs. So I assume it was successful, but not without certain struggles. Why don't you take me through it?
So the plan that we had set up was to lay a trap for the leech, spill some animal human blood from blood packs in a warehouse that was far enough away from any guard posts, but also close enough to the amphitheater that we deduced that this leech was at. We traveled through the Umbra, which had some small hiccups, but overall, the travel was good. We made it in time, stakes laid out, the trap. All of our resources that we had gathered were previously placed by stakes. The trap went off relatively well. We were able to bring the leech to the area, but he brought a lot of those monstrosities. Probably about 15. Amongst those 15, I don't know if you've seen them. They were huge. Probably about 15 feet tall. Had multiple arms. Probably, I think, 6. There were 2 of them. And we got... Sorry, one. The second one was a later thing. That was definitely the biggest threat in the current situation. The leech being equal, if not more of a threat. The Hulk monstrosity was able to throw the other smaller ones into us and engaged us first when we sprung the trap. Luckily, we were able to deal with them pretty, not easily, but efficiently. Forged put a lot of work into crowd control, and everyone else was able to fulfill their roles to the best they could. Taking out the first wave and the second wave. The leech was definitely... He was messing with us. The abilities that we were described from Spud with what it could do was being told what it could do, and experiencing it was a different story. I don't know if you experienced a leech with the ability to lessen your rage, but it was a weird experience. I didn't get hit with it too much. I know the others got hit with it a lot more. The leech was jumping around, dealing with those that were out of place. I know Delphine made a risky but good decision to try and take out the monstrosities that were grouped up with the Molotov cocktails that we had prepared. And if she didn't do that, then we would have had a greater hill to climb in that combat. But unfortunately, that move brought her out in the open, and she got jumped. And that's why you could probably smell the blood on that RV, because she got hit the worst. I know Juniper and Forged got beaten pretty bad too when they went to engage the Hulk monstrosity. But near the end of the fight, when most of the monstrosities were taken care of and it was just the Hulk, maybe one or two of the small ones left, the Leech tried to jump out and take a sneak attack hit on Juniper and Forge when they were dealing with monstrosity, and I got a lucky hit on it when it was running by. Hit it right in its chest with the iron stake that was prepared by Juniper, and when he died, the monstrosities just decomposed in front of us. So I believe any monstrosity that this Leech created potentially could be gone. So I don't know if any of the hives that you've investigated recently have had a lesser activity of these monstrosities, but that could be a reason. Now that this Leech is dead, these monstrosities could be popping up less and less, and these hives could actually be dealt with a little bit easier.
I have noticed a decrease in activity, especially in that area. It seems many of the hives that had been previously active have fallen dormant. To find out that they are connected to the one that made them provides a potential advantage, because if it works that way for the infected created by the Leech, it could work that way for any infected, as long as we find the source of their creation.
Also, a bit of information that could be useful. Obviously, dispatching these monstrosities in the normal way of claw, bullets, any melee weapon took them out, but they ended up trying to merge together to form the second Hulk that I was talking about. So obviously, dealing the final blow with iron or fire is the only way to really stop them. But we kind of knew that, but it was jarring to see them try to form something new after being dispatched. I was not expecting that.
We have not seen a monstrosity of the size that you described. That is new, but it is good to know that's within their potential and something that we could prepare for going into Piney Point. Now, whether that's limited to the Leech's creations or something that they are capable of doing as a whole remains to be seen, but it is another thing that we can add to the list that we know about them. As for them reforming, that is knowledge that we had, but to create something of that mass and magnitude shows a certain continuation of the hive-minded behavior we have known them to possess.
I don't know if it was something that was specific to the Leech's creations, or if this is something that now is going to be a general thing that these monstrosities can do. But hopefully this was something that only those things could accomplish, that the things that the Leech created were capable of.
That would be preferable, yes, but I tend not to underestimate the capabilities of these creations. They have already proven to be vastly intelligent in their tactics, as well as capable of new and interesting creations with each evolution.
Speaking of, I don't know if you've experienced this yet. When we initiated the combat with these monstrosities, the Leech, the first wave that were tossed at us had those plants that could spew the spores embedded in the monstrosity. And so they were kind of akin to grenades in a sense.
Yes, we have encountered those before. We have referred to them as volcanoes in the past due to the spore-producing plant in the center of their chest.
Okay. I didn't know if that was something you had already encountered, so I think knowing that these plants can be embedded, have you encountered any other monstrosities that have had the different plants that that were mentioned previously?
For the most part, the infected that we have encountered have come in a variety of shapes and forms, but only the one plant has been seen within their possession. Although, knowing Piney Point lies ahead, I would be prepared for anything, especially if they somehow are able to incorporate their defensive plants, the bushes, with the iron spikes, or with the silver spikes. That is something to be mindful of.
Definitely. Speaking of Piney Point, now that this leech situation is dealt with, is that the next step? Is there a plan to go forward with dealing with Piney Point finally?
We are preparing for an assault on Piney Point, but that still needs some time, as there are other issues to be dealt with before we can comfortably advance on Piney Point. We are planning a multi-pronged attack, with your group potentially going in to deal with their scientists and even Vanessa, while we go to engage the one we believe to be responsible for all this, a follower of Balor, a changeling that we believe gave them the means to create these plants. If we are able to get to this changeling, perhaps they could be the source that will disrupt the rest of the infected.
Understood. I'm sure that plan is, like you said, still kind of coming together. But what other things need to be taken care of before the final step is taken?
I do have your next assignment, but before we get to that, there are a couple of questions I have to debrief the final details of your last encounter. My first question would be, if you could do anything differently going into that encounter, what would you have done?
I will lean back in my chair, cross my arms, kind of think for a bit. I think overall we did okay. Our preparation was good. The plan we made together was solid. I think overall, maybe better communication in the moment. We all did well in the tasks that we accomplished, but in the moment, there was no real vocalization of what was happening. But fighting wise, our positioning was good. Forge was in the front. Juniper jumped in to be in the front and was bouncing around the fight. I was kind of near the rear with my gun, and Delphine was doing a good job supporting with dealing with the monstrosities with the fire. If we knew that Delphine was going up, if she communicated a little better, maybe the situation could have been a little bit less drastic for her. I'm not saying that she messed up, but I know in the heat of the moment, things kind of flow. And it's hard to remember to communicate. So that's something that we should definitely work on.
What do you believe made the difference in that particular mission that turned the tide in your favor?
I think there were 3 key moments that really turned the tide. I think if we didn't have Forge in the front line dealing with 3 of the monstrosities at a time, then we would have been overwhelmed. He dealt with the brunt of the attack of each wave, and if he wasn't there, then we would have probably failed within the first 30 seconds. Delphine making the dash to the side and launching the Molotov on the remaining monstrosities that were behind the Hulk, ready to be thrown, taking out at least half of the remaining, was huge. If she didn't do that, then we would have been, again, swarmed and overwhelmed. And then the Hulk was going to be an issue, and Forged was trying to deal with it the best that he could. But if Juniper didn't jump in with her sword and deal a huge blow to it, wounding it and bringing it down to the point where Forged could threaten it more, then the Hulk would have probably taken both Forged and Juniper out rather quickly. Me dealing with the leech was more, I believe, to be luck. I was in a good position. It was running fast out in the open, and I believe to be more of a lucky shot than a well-timed execution. So I don't really want to count that as some of the best or one of the better moments, because if I missed, then that whole fight would have been completely different.
While I appreciate your modesty, Raymond, do not mistake luck for skill. You have been working very hard to become a marksman. This is the benefits of that training and work. And it likely was the exclamation point of turning the tide. Guaranteed the success.
I won't deny that it was the key point, but I think, like I said earlier, if we didn't have each of us there filling that one role or having that one defining moment, then I don't think any of us would have been coming back alive, and we would be done. So I want to give credit more to the rest of the pack than myself in the moment.
As a good leader does. You had mentioned that there were complications in your travel through the Umbra to the attack site. What were these complications?
I mean, the situation with Delphine's parents and the ghosts that still linger. I don't think any of us expected when we stepped into the Umbra for them to immediately attach on and try to affect Juniper the way they did. That was the major complication, was that they decided in that moment, because we were there, that they needed to do something to enact revenge of some sort. And that was the biggest complication of the entire mission. Was just, if Delphine wasn't able to pacify them in that moment, then I don't know what they could have done more to make the situation worse. Because I don't even want to know what they could have done, because it would have been probably worse than the whole fight that we encountered.
The longer this issue between your packmates continues, the more you will have to rely on luck. It may be time for you to step in and take a direct hand in the matter.
I know Delphine's been working on it and learning from Eliza and from Sean and how to deal with it. And I know that takes time. I don't want to push her too hard to try and get the situation done quickly, because then that could lead to a slip up or a complication. But I agree. If this goes on longer, then more situations like this will come up, and we might not be able to pacify them like we did last time.
Time is a very precious resource that we do not have a great amount of. The attack on Piney Point is coming, whether your group is ready for it or not. You need to ensure that they are ready.
I understand. I'll make mention and see where she's at in resolving the issue. And if she's prepared, then we'll move forward in dealing with it as quickly as we can.
Good. Now to the matter at hand. My pack is planning on attacking their greatest threat that they have created. A vined monstrosity that takes the shape of a large wolf, but has the ability to separate into several smaller wolves. This monstrosity attacked, killed, and captured some of our allies. It needs to be dealt with. Therefore, once the spear is forged, we will be going after the monstrosity. But as for you, we have learned that they are still continuing to ship out infected product, infected fertilizer from the Piney Point plant. We have caught wind of one particular shipment that is planning on leaving the state. We cannot allow this to happen. We must contain this infection to this area to the best of our ability. Your task is to intercept this shipment, remove and destroy any infected product from that shipment. We believe that the driver will be human and unaware of what they're involved in, but we can't be certain. So you must be prepared for that possibility. The other important condition: this cannot gain a lot of attention. Aspen is in the process of a legal battle trying to cease their operations at the Piney Point plant to shut them down until our assault, so that more of these shipments don't go out. But as of yet, we are having little success with it. That's why it's all the more important that you and your group make sure that this particular shipment is intercepted and destroyed. But the news cannot catch wind of it. The authorities cannot catch wind of it. Because any evidence showing that their affairs are being tampered with could work against our efforts to cease their production.
Okay. Do you know when this shipment is going to be heading out?
2 weeks.
Where is it being transported to? Is it going north? Is it going west?
It's going north. I believe they are planning on taking it to Georgia or perhaps beyond. We don't have the specific details of the location. We just know it is planning to leave the state. You will not be able to stop the shipment before it hits the road, as it'll be leaving directly from the Piney Point plant. You will have to intercept it in transit.
I understand. It would definitely be extremely difficult to try to stop it from even leaving. So that was what I planned on doing, was figuring out a way to stopping it while it's in transit, which still will be difficult, but a lot less difficult.
After your success in the last mission, I'm sure you can handle this one.
I believe we can too. Hopefully we can formulate a good enough plan in the next 2 weeks to execute it flawlessly. But, you know, plans go awry at times, and hopefully it doesn't go too much awry.
Find a way to stop the truck, to subdue the driver without them seeing anything they shouldn't see, and getting the product off the truck. The rest will fall into place from there.
I understand. I'll let everyone else know about the new mission and the situation, and we'll put our heads together and come up with something.
Good. Do you have any other questions for me?
Off the top of my head, not really. I think having a new mission right away, I think it'll help us keep our momentum going, and we should be able to accomplish this. But hopefully everyone can be rested up enough before we go. That's my only small concern.
I agree. Also, tending to any matters left unsaid before the mission could be beneficial.
I'll give Charles a look. Not a look of like anger or guilt, but one of like understanding, which is different than whenever this topic was brought up previously with Charles.
You don't want any doubts or suspicions hanging over your pack. That is what adds to the likelihood of failure.
I know keeping the secret is going to lead to more problems down the line. But with a mission that is still important, I don't know if telling them beforehand would lead to issues during the mission itself.
Don't let this be an excuse. Let it be something to bolster your confidence. You need to know how they're going to react, because one way or another the truth comes out. At least you would be in control of it, and at least you would know how your pack feels about the matter.
I'll let out a deep sigh and kind of sink into my chair a little bit. Yeah, no, you're right. Stakes basically said the same thing. So it's nice to kind of confirm that.
You will never find a greater truth than from the lips of a lupus born. She's very wise.
You're not wrong. And she definitely shoots it straight. Doesn't talk around a topic, which is nice.
Agreed. believe I've told you the basics of what you need to know, but is there anything else for the purposes of clear communication and transparency that you would like to know?
Not at the moment, but if something comes up, I will definitely come and ask you.
Do not hesitate. We are still here to assist. Myself, Arthur, the other elders.
I know. And I'm sure once we come up with a plan for the mission, we'll be approaching you and everyone else for any help that we need.
Good. And if there's nothing further, I will let you get back to your preparations and training.
Thanks, Charles.
As you stand up, nodding your head and departing the meeting, what's going through your mind after this conversation with Charles?
Being able to break down the mission to him and explain everything that went right, it did feel good. Being able to give everyone the moment of spotlight and the explanation felt right. And it's good to feel that way about everyone else in the pack. But the last comments that Charles made about trust and telling the truth, those feelings are a little more muted now because him and Stakes could be correct that me telling the truth about the situation with Jordan could lead to something good. But there's always that nagging, gnawing feeling in the back of my head that the moment I bring it up and the moment I say it out loud, it could ruin everything. So that is a big, big worry.
And with that, we transition to our next scene. Our next scene takes us to a community center building attached to one of the nearby churches in Tampa. This building plays host to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. A meeting that Delphine had researched for some time and has finally mustered up the courage to attend. But rather than attending alone, she chose to take on the accountability of Forged from Failures, as well as the support. So as the two of you arrive in the early afternoon outside of the large concrete building, nestled up very nicely to a very ornate church next to it, you pull up in the van, parking it in the parking lot, and the scene is yours.
Delphine, probably in the passenger seat, probably has her knees drawn up a little bit onto the seat. She's likely chewing on the end of her nail nervously as she just stares at the building. And like anytime she's not chewing on her thumbnail, she goes to reach for like where her hair like would normally sit before, but after the fight and having most of it burnt off, she just grips at nothing and then goes back to biting the nail. And she'll just be shaking her legs anxiously and just kind of having that mental debate with herself of whether or not to ask Forge to turn the car around.
Forge parks the car right now. He's kind of just a lot more calm than Delphine is. A little, not entirely disinterested, but slightly kind of bored. as he, gets everything set up. He does care for the well-being of Delphine here. Not quite sure. He's never been to one of these before, so he doesn't quite know what he's supposed to do. But as you see her biting her hairnail and kind of fidgeting around a lot, he reaches to a pocket, kind of sits forward a little bit, and pulls out some mint gum, as he'll just offer one of it to her and just say, if you want to chew something, I got some gum here if you want.
She'll pull her nail out of her, away from her teeth, and just kind of look at him. And she'll rub her palms against her thighs and then reach out for the gum and take it. Thanks. Just a little tense. So chewing probably on gum is probably better than. She'll look at her chewed down to probably the edge of her nail bed thumb, and probably not good for my nails at all either.
Yeah, I mean, I knew some dudes who were trying to get off chewing tobacco, and this is the shit they used to do, so I figured it's like the same kind of concept here. I mean, you ever been to a place like this before? I never been. I don't really know how do they do shit here,
I've mainly just read up on a couple of meetings on Reddit, and from what I've read, you don't really have to talk if you don't want to. But they're just supposed to be places for. She'll take a pause and take a deep breath. People like me to get stuff off their chest and of how they're struggling with everything, and try to find a support system. She'll look at him. You don't have to say anything at all if you don't want to, but she grips, like, she kind of bunches the fabric of her jeans and into her hands as she's forming fists. I just didn't want to come alone. You said back in hell that you'd help me out.
Forge actually is a little surprised by remembering that, and also a little like, oh shit, I did say that, and kind of not exactly flustered, but feeling like, oh, like I'm being a good friend for someone, like I'm being a homie. Okay, and he kind of recomposes himself. He'll say, yeah, I got you, dog. I'll help you out with whatever. I'll be in there. I mean, if anyone tries to fuck with you, I can tell them to fuck off. I mean, or
it's not
give them the eyes.
It's not other people I'm worried about. I'm worried more about me. I don't know how I can react to certain things. I don't have the thing that keeps me centered right now, and I'm finding myself a little bit more temperamental and reactive. And I know for a fact that if needed, you can drag my ass out of there over your shoulder if need be.
I mean, yeah, I just hope we don't get the cops called on us, but I mean, well, that's what grade 4, right? And Aspen and all of them, so they'll handle that part.
Hopefully it won't get to that, but
at this point, Forge gonna open the car door, hop on out. He'll walk on over and just stand outside lean against the car waiting for Delphine.
she takes several moments to work up the courage to get out. Just like her hand is constantly reaching and pulling away from the door handle, and she still has that thought process in her mind of forgetting about everything and just turning around. But she knows she has to try. So she forces herself to finally open the door and get out of the car, wincing a little bit just because getting skewered by that leech, while she's healed for the most part, her insides are still a little sore. And she'll get out of the vehicle and just stand next to Forged. Now, we can't use our... I can't be calling you Forged in there. That's not a standard name. So, and I'm not even legally called Delphine, so, like, you could just, if we get asked, my name's Bree, okay?
Oh yeah, you can use my my fake ID name, Marcus. It's I think it's still based in Michigan though, but I'm sure they won't care. What the fuck are they gonna do? Check it?
And part of the anonymous part is you don't also have to give your real name.
Yeah, makes it easy enough. The Forge will start walking towards the building, just kind of taking the lead here.
She'll hesitantly but assuredly follow him.
As you're both crossing the parking lot, you can see that there are a handful of other vehicles present and several other individuals making their way into the building. They are a complex variety of people, some dressed in suits as if coming from the office or perhaps going back to work after this. Others, like yourselves, dressed a little more casually. But you can see a wide variety of ages, from those seemingly just passing 18 to those in their 50s and 60s. As you approach the building, I'd like both of you to make a wits and awareness check, please.
Do I get my bonus for noticing, finding something lost or overlooked?
No.
Okay, fair enough. And we're also at Rage 1, I assume.
Yeah.
I got 3 successes.
I got 2.
Okay, Forged, you are primarily focused on the building in front of you and taking in the various individuals you see heading into the building, as well as looking beyond that into the room beyond, which appears to be a gymnasium of sorts with a variety of folding chairs set up in a circle. Delphine, as you are taking a shaky breath to try and steady yourself approaching the building, you can't help but look back towards the car, your last chance to escape. But what you catch, also in the parking lot, is a dirty green Jeep parked a few spaces away. Looking a little closer, you see in the driver's seat of the Jeep is Artie, who seems to be gripping the steering wheel very, very tightly. His appearance is a little bit more bedraggled, but he looks like he's tried to make the best of it, as his goatee is joined by a little bit of scruff along the sides. It's not very well manicured. His hair is ruffled slightly, and his shirt is unbuttoned a little bit lower. He seems to be taking his own steadying breaths, but his shoulders are hunched very tight.
Delphine pauses in the doorway of the building, spotting Artie, and she'll turn back to Forged, and she'll just wait 1 second. I'll be right back. And she'll jog over to the Jeep.
As you approach the Jeep, Artie doesn't seem to turn to notice your approach. He's staring primarily directly ahead. But once you do approach, he blinks out of a daze and looks over at you and is somewhat startled by your appearance, but offers a weak smile to try and cover up for his surprise.
She'll do the gesture of rolling the window down.
He reaches over and cranks until the window lowers. Hey.
Hey, did you follow us?
No, nothing like that. I honestly didn't even expect you to be here. What's up? You here for a meeting?
She rubs the back of her neck, looking down a little bit. Yeah.
Kind of intimidating, isn't it?
I almost asked Forge to turn around like 50 times. He's here too, by the way. And she'll just gesture over to the building.
He follows your gaze over towards Forged, that takes another like shallow breath before letting out a long sigh. Oh, good. More. Well, hey, I'm like crazy proud of you. This is a really difficult step to be taking, and the fact that you're even here, even in the parking lot, even if this is as far as you get, it's not something to be looked down upon. It's something to be celebrated. This is a force of will and a confidence in change that you should be proud of.
She listens to what he's saying. Can I try, like, can I do a wits and insight on him?
Absolutely.
Because if he wasn't following us, why is he here? Damn it, I did not succeed at all.
Yeah, it's hard to say what his intentions or motivations are.
She'll nod a little bit, embarrassed, not feeling like, not liking just all the attention about it, and she kind of looks uncomfortable at that and just, look, it's nice to hear, but it's a little overwhelming. Not that I'm upset about it, it's a lot to take in. And it's just kind of making me a little bit more antsy, but thank you. I do appreciate it. I'm having a hard time processing.
Get it. Probably more than you know. I never been to one of these things before either.
She'll look a little confused. Why are you here?
As I was recently made aware of, I have a problem of my own, one that I need to try and nip in the bud before it becomes a liability.
She'll glance over her shoulder at Ford and then back at Artie. Man, I did a lot of reviewing of this place online before coming here. Seems like it's a good place to start. And believe me, or whether you want to believe me or not, Forged is actually really good at being an emotional support werewolf, as it were.
Believe it. I actually had one of those of my own some time ago, and luckily enough, I have more now. But I want you to know that as difficult as this may seem now, it would be more difficult to be the reason something goes wrong or fails. It would be more difficult to be the liability. You are doing something incredible and possibly one of the most difficult things you'll ever have to do. But if you can do it, I can do it.
Kind of what pushed me here already. I think I already lured in a Bane, so I can't keep being an issue for the cairn, for the sept. It was like right outside.
Well, it had more than one reason to be drawn there. So don't blame yourself, not entirely. I know what it is to be dependent on something to feel productive. I know that the process of getting away from that is going to potentially lead to feelings of uselessness or being more of a problem to your sept or to your pack, but believe me, you're not useless, and you won't be useless not having this thing. If anything, you are going to be able to dedicate more of your attention and energy to it. But allow yourself the grace of a recovery period. I know I have to, and I'm not looking forward to it either.
Talk to Sean. He's got some experience with this. He actually told me that this would be a pretty good idea for me to do. Get a routine in.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I didn't know that about him.
Me neither.
Well, I'd say he could give us both a hand, but he only has one to spare.
Dude,
Too soon?
do you make do you make those jokes because you're uncomfortable?
Most of the time, yeah.
Ugh. That was really bad. We need to go inside.
Yeah, don't want to be late to our first of what I assume is many meetings.
Do I know by this point that the Jeep is a spirit?
Yeah, I'd say so.
And she'll just look at him. She's like, no, I feel like she'll point to the car. I feel like even this one didn't like that joke.
Oh, I don't know. Regina's got a great sense of humor, but you're probably right. He reaches for the door handle, giving a moment for you to step back before he opens it and rolls up the window again. Okay. Well, we can do this together, I guess.
She'll just like very supportive gesture, hold out her hand for him, so that way they both have like something to hold on to.
He smiles and While one hand combs through his hair, he reaches out with the other and takes your hand. We can do this.
He can feel that her hand is definitely really shaky, not just from the withdrawal, but also from the nerves. But she'll give what she hopes is a confident nod, even if she doesn't feel it herself so much. And she'll lead him over to where Forged is.
So Forged, what have you been doing as Delphine's been over by the Jeep chatting?
So Miss Forge just, we were like in the doorway, so when she said like, oh, just wait a moment, I'll be back, he didn't want to make people uncomfortable by just standing right outside the doorway, because I feel a little awkward. So he's like inside right now, like a little way from the doorway, just kind of leaning up against the wall, hands in his pockets, kind of looking around, seeing if he recognizes anyone, kind of thinking to himself, man, I hope she didn't just take the fucking Jeep or like the car and just dip. That'd be really awkward right now. Like, he like checks the keys, like, okay, I still got these. So he's just right now just waiting for her to come back.
So as you're waiting inside, taking in the atmosphere, it is a gymnasium. You can see a basketball hoop off to one side, some pads for gymnastics or stretching off to another, but most of the materials have been cleared away to make room for this circle of chairs. There's also a chalkboard off to one side, and you can see a few people milling about, maybe about 6 or 7, but there's one that stands out more to you, which is an older man, probably in his 40s, wearing a sweater with a button-up shirt underneath and some slacks, who seems to be moving around greeting people. Now, most of the people who respond with recognition to him. Off on another side, there's a folding table up against one wall that seems to have a big, large coffee pot on it, as well as a plate of cookies and donuts and other snacks. And then there's also a vegetable tray with dip and some paper plates stacked up next to it.
Seeing the food laid out, Forge kind of hones in on it before kind of beelining towards it, grabbing a plate of sweets for himself and maybe 1 or 2 for Delphine, as he'll look over to the vegetables a little disgusted, and then grab like a plate and a few for Delphine with some dip, because he thinks that she probably likes this shit, and then turns around and kind of just waits. He doesn't quite want to introduce himself just yet alone, and he also kind of wants to get away with being on the down low for now, so just kind of listening in on whatever's going on, or getting the feel of the vibe.
As you pile up your plate with cookies and sweets and prepare to turn around, you find that older man standing in front of you with a warm and bright smile on his face. He's got some thinning salt and pepper hair atop his head, but he's got very kind, deep blue eyes as he looks over to you. Welcome.
Forge, caught off guard, maybe almost spilling the plate of vegetables. Right now, both his hands have a plate in them, as he just, hey, what's up, man? You're the dude running this thing?
Yes, my name's Eric. And you are?
Oh, yeah, you can just call me Marcus. I'm, here for my friend. She's supposed to be coming in soon, hopefully. I'm a little worried she just kind of bailed, but, yeah.
Well, Marcus, it's very nice to meet you, and that's a very admirable and honorable thing to do, to be here in support of your friend.
I mean, it's what bros do, right? What friends do for friends. Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely. And we're so pleased and glad to have you here. Is your friend coming along soon?
I hope so. Where I got to the door and she was like, "Oh, just give me a second," and ran off. So, hopefully, I mean, worst case scenario, I mean, I'll just listen and give her the notes, I guess. I mean,
I'm sure she'll be here. The first step is the most difficult in this process, in this journey, admitting that we have a problem. But the fact that she's even made it this far, that's something. Well, why don't you go ahead and have a seat? And I'm sure she'll be along in a moment. We should be starting soon.
he'll nod to that as he'll make his way over to a seat, grabbing one of the cookies and eating it as he sits down, getting ready.
Moment after you take your seat, you see Delphine enter into the gymnasium, but not alone. She seems to be escorted by Artie.
Forge looks a little surprised, but will kind of raise his hand up to wave for Delphine. Not yelling over the gymnasium or anything, as he'll even show that he has a plate of vegetables for her.
Delphine will head on in Forge's direction, and with Art, like bring Artie along with her, and she'll just have a seat. Sorry, I just saw we had company in the parking lot.
As you're headed over to the seat, Artie, his eyes move over towards the coffee pitcher, and he pauses for a moment, but as you continue walking, he kind of stumble steps alongside you and is almost dragged over towards the seat, where he, upon seeing Forge, gives a smile and a nod.
When they get close enough, Forge will just nod back to Artie and just be like, "What's up? You came here also for Delphine, or?"
He opens his mouth as if to speak at first, but then says, "Actually, it seems to be just a coincidence that we're all here. I was here for myself, actually."
So-
Shit. I mean, fair enough, man. I mean, kind of probably a good thing we're all here at the same time. You wanna? He reach over. You want some I think this is broccoli or a cookie. I don't know. I don't know what kind of cookies they are, but they're pretty fucking good.
Yeah, thanks. He reaches over and pulls a cookie off the plate and a handful of baby carrots. He then
Also-
takes a seat.
Also, it's Bree. Remember Marcus?
Oh, yeah, sure. He just kind of shrugs to that. Just, I don't think they really care, but I mean, also, you want some? I assumed you like this green stuff, so I grabbed some for you.
I mean, healthy stuff? Yes, I do.
So as you settle in, enjoying your snacks, eventually everyone else in the meeting takes their seats as Eric calls the meeting to order. They start with the affirmations before going around and introducing themselves. One by one, you hear a variety of introductions as well as admissions to being an addict. Eventually, it comes around the circle to you, Delphine. Do you stand up and speak, or do you stay silent?
She freezes a little bit when when it gets to her, and she kind of feels if like she knows it's probably not intense, but she nonetheless feels like the gaze of everyone on her right now is like nothing but intensity. And she is shaking just a little bit more at this attention, and she kind of looks to Forged first, kind of seeking like support, but also seeing if he thinks she should say something.
Forge is seeing this apprehension, and he kind of like motions for her to come a little closer and like lean in, as he'll lean in and whisper like, dude, you're scared, dude, you literally ran in and like firebombed like 10 monsters, and you got this, man, bro. This is easy. Compared to that, it'll be easy.
Forged, give me a charisma and persuasion.
I'm not the greatest, but I could try. I will actually, I don't have a lot of these left, but I'll use a willpower. Nope, okay. Only one success. There we go. Actually, I think I should have another roll. Hold on. Sorry, I should have got two successes. Sorry.
Okay. So, bolstered by his surprisingly comforting and reassuring words, Delphine, make me a composure and resolve, but you can add an additional die from his assistance.
I love how poetic this is, because that was 4 successes with a crit.
You feel a renewed sense of confidence come over you. You feel that shaky and unsteady feeling, the pounding of your heart in your chest. Slow. The shaking stills. You can do this.
She'll, once again, rubbing her hands on the fabric of her jeans over her thighs, she'll stand up slowly, and she'll just hold out a hand in a small waving gesture. Hi, I'm Bree. And came here because I have a problem, and I want to try to get better.
Eric gives a very warm smile and says, "Welcome, Bree. You're in a safe space. We're here to help." Then comes to Artie, who remains seated for a few moments, his foot tapping, his knee shaking. But then he, watching you speak, takes a deep breath and then stands. "Hello, my name's Arthur. It's been 3 days since I last used, and I'm an addict. Primarily caffeine, prescription speed, and as of recently, cocaine." Eric once again gives a smile. "Welcome, Arthur." Artie nods his head a few times before dropping back down into his seat. They continue the introductions as it goes around the circle. And then people start telling their stories, talking about a time that drugs negatively affected their life. You hear stories from divorces to losing their job, falling out of contact with their kids. And every story reflects these experiences, the harm, the pain. Seeing the bravery of these individuals speaking, while reassuring, also reminds you just how not normal you are. Because the lives they speak of, no matter how negatively affected, are lives that you will likely never have. For a guru is unlikely to have children, is unlikely to get married, is unlikely to carry a traditional job. It reminds you just how little you can really say. How hard it is going to be truthful about your circumstances. The reminder of the litany banging at the back of your mind, saying that the veil must not be lifted. But you know that you need this. You know that this is what helps. And in a society of constant problems needing to be dealt with, of responsibilities meant to be upheld, while there is some help that can be offered, it's not like this. So while you feel detached, there's also a sense of kinship, because all these people had to make the choice. All these people had to take the steps. And while several of them have years under their belt, there are others who merely have a handful of months. That they're a little bit further ahead than you are, but not much. Yet they're still somehow here, doing this, succeeding, moving forward. Eventually, Eric looks to you, Delphine, and says, Bree, do you have a story you'd like to share today?
She thinks for a moment as he asks that question about, and she's thinking about the litany and all that stuff, and how she can't really be fully honest with the finer details, because those are things that normal people aren't ever supposed to know. So she takes a deep breath. I started using after I ran away from home. My parents were, my father had just gotten a promotion, and it was going to move him out of state, and my mom was going to go with him, but I was going to be told to stay to finish school. In hindsight, they probably just wanted me to graduate with my friends, but I didn't take it that way. I left, and I met up with some friends I made on the road. We were mostly just hitchhiking our way across the country. And it was in New Orleans that I first got addicted to meth. One of my friends that I'd been traveling with, he tried to convince us not to buy the stuff, not to take it, but we didn't listen to him. And I haven't seen him since. And I don't remember much of New Orleans, but I know that I maxed out my dad's credit card. He hadn't canceled it. And I remember having to get on a Greyhound bus to go home because I didn't have any more money and he wasn't going to keep bankrolling me into destroying his credit score. So I went home and got to experience all the disappointment my parents could ever muster in 6 hours. And they were going to put me in rehab, but I didn't want that. So I ran away again. Met up with some newer friends that I'm still with. But along the way, I pissed off a guy who was nice enough to take me in and try to help me. She'll look at Forged as she mentions that. He gave us a place to stay, and in return, I completely helped in destroying his place, and so they kicked us out, and that's how we all ended up down here. My friends have been trying to get me to quit for a long time now, and the neighborhood we moved into, it's kind of like a big community. We have people, and she just glances to the side at Artie, that are like big brothers and sisters helping us out where they can, offering advice, but they've all been trying to help me, and they haven't asked for anything in return. And instead, I just have kept using. And it wasn't until recently that it got really bad. I always told myself that it wasn't as bad as it could be. That as long as I wasn't injecting, that I had a handle on it. About a couple weeks back, that I lost control. I didn't have a handle anymore, and I had to really look at myself and see how bad I was. It's like evil part of me that I didn't recognize, that was egging me on, that was trying to hurt me. And I don't know how the needle got in my arm. But I've never felt so helpless. And if I didn't get help from people of my community, I don't know what would have happened that night. And I've been looking at this place for a while now, and one of my big brothers once said that this was probably a good first step.
Eric smiles, nods his head. Thank you, Bree, for sharing that. It's easy to overlook and forget the impact our addictions have on the ones we care about, the ones we love most. It's easy to take for granted the support that they give us until it's gone. But those that can still stand beside us, even as much as we try to push them away, those are the ones we should value. Those are the ones that can be our greatest pillars in this journey. Those are the ones we thank. Not to say that those that have come before and have been affected aren't just as important. We can't fault them for deciding that they'd had enough. Everyone has a breaking point or a limit. And sometimes the best thing people can do for us is walk away. Because it shows us, maybe not right away, but eventually, what we're doing to them. As for the increase or the change in use, the term gateway drug gets thrown around a lot. Sometimes it's said in jest, other times it's used as propaganda. But it is still very true, because addiction isn't limited necessarily to a single substance. It's a part of our chemical makeup. It's a part of who we are. Therefore, it's something that we have to recognize in ourselves, accept about ourselves, and forgive others for judging us on. You may have come here because of a single substance, but in reality, all substances could be possible. They're all in their own way connected because they're a means of escape or relief or coping. So it's easy to grow blind to what we use and what we need. It's easy to have other things enter into our routine and to be completely blinded and unaware to it. Just chasing a particular feeling. This is all to say, hold on to those who still stand with you. Show them how much you value their support. And if necessary, apologize when you're ready for the effect your addiction has had on them. Marcus, I know you're here as a supporter, but do you have anything you wish to share?
Forge is currently eating, sneaking a cookie during this whole speech, and kind of heard that, just pops up, drops the cookie, swallows it. Yeah, I mean, shit, I'm not kind of good with this shit. Y'all are dope for saying this stuff. I mean, shit's tough. I mean, I don't know it myself, but I mean, and he kind of just looks around awkwardly like, fuck, I didn't expect this, and kind of sits back in his chair, kind of shrinking a little bit like, please God.
Thank you, Marcus. Perhaps to help, is there anything you would wish to say to Bree? As a friend, as a supporter, as someone who cares about her enough to come to this meeting? Is there something you'd like to tell her about how her use has affected you? or any encouragement you'd like to give.
He's struggling a bit with this one as he is battling that sense of you got to be nonchalant and chill. You can't come off too nice or anything like that in this moment here as he's thinking of what to say as he'll clear his throat. Bree, you and I know we've known each other for a bit now, not that long to be honest, but I mean, I've seen some of the shit you've been through and some of the work you've been putting in, and you know, out of all our friends, I think you've been kind of like doing the most work with the shit that's been going on, and you know, that's something to be proud of, and you should feel good about that. And he kind of exhales for a second, looks awkwardly away as he'll. And I'm proud of you, Bree, for putting in this work and coming here. I know it wasn't easy, and if I was in your shoes, I probably wouldn't have done it. So you're pretty fucking tough for it.
Eric nods his head and actually applauds, just joined in by a few of the others. Thank you for that, Marcus. He then looks over to Artie. Arthur, do you have anything you wish to share? Artie hesitantly stands once again. Ever since I was a kid, I've had responsibility, a need to be responsible for others. Growing up without a dad and a mom who was always working, and then eventually got really, really sick, I had to take on the responsibility for myself, my younger brother, and eventually my mom as well. I felt like if I wasn't contributing, if I wasn't doing everything I could, I was letting them down. I was letting myself down. I'm sure, as we all know, the older you get, the more of those responsibilities start to pop up. Well, eventually, I got so overwhelmed with the responsibilities that I wasn't able to prevent my brother's death. And after that, I swore to myself that I was never going to lose focus again. That I always had to be working, always had to be aware. That led to the continued use, because I didn't want to let anyone down. I didn't want to lose anyone else. And after I lost another really good friend, just sort of accelerated things. It hurt my friendships and relationships, and even caused me to have to leave for a while. When I got back, even though I'd made a lot of improvements, use was still a constant, because it was what I used to support me so I could support others. I felt like that was my job, that was my role, that was the only way I was of any use to them. What I didn't recognize was that it was hurting my friends. It was hurting my fiance. It was hurting them to the point that I wasn't just being of use. I was depriving them of what mattered most. Me, as a person, as a friend. Me being happy, healthy. And when I was finally confronted with that, I was told that I mattered no matter how useful I was, I knew something had to change. Because I was just putting them at more risk and in more pain because of what I was doing. He takes another breath and then sits down, removing his glasses to clean them nervously. As Eric gives a nod. Thank you, Arthur. At that point, they move on to a few more stories. And then eventually the meeting comes to a close, wrapping up with a prayer and an oath. And then the meeting is called to an end. Eric encouraging anyone to take cookies and coffee and the vegetables, and letting everyone know that there would be several meetings available this week, as well as the next week. And mentioning pamphlets that are laid out on another table for help. But as people rise to leave, Artie lingers in the chair, just staring at the shiny surface of the gymnasium floor. His knee continues to bounce up and down and shake.
Artie, okay?
Yeah, I will be. I haven't talked about that kind of stuff with this many people, especially strangers, well, ever, honestly.
I get it. It was a lot having everyone staring when you're bearing your soul like that.
He looks at you and gives a smile. We did it. And honestly, it helped that you were here, both of you. I'm grateful that we had this experience together.
George has a smile on his face that he'll give a nod to Artie and just say, I mean, it's nice to have you here too. It's something I think good for all of us to be together for, you know?
I agree.
Yeah, I didn't even know that you were dealing with all of that. So sorry for not realizing.
It's not your job to know, it's my job to share. I appreciate it, really do, but I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want anyone to think of me as weak or overburdened, but a good friend didn't ask me for the help they needed recently because they thought I was taking on too much. And I think they don't know that I noticed, but I did. Really, just sent me spiraling a little bit. And if it wasn't for Aspen, I wouldn't be here.
It can't be like this, and she gestures between the two of them, if there's apparently going to be a wedding. She looks sideways at Ford. Did you know about that? Because I didn't know about that.
I didn't know about it either, but I'm interested to hear the invitation date. Better be some nice food and a good party.
Let's get through the current problems first, but yeah, I'll make sure to let you know. At this point, Artie takes another deep breath and then stands. I should be getting home. I'm pretty sure I'm going to bottom out here soon and fall asleep for days.
Oh, that reminds me, since you guys live together, can you let Aspen know, and this is her work related, that I've started with meeting the conditions of the will, so she can make a note of it.
I will, yeah. But I think she'll be proud if you also tell her yourself.
I kind of am just trying to keep it a little bit quiet too, because, like I said, having even you saying you're proud of me was a lot, and I don't want to hear it from everyone back home.
I get it. When you're ready. But you deserve to hear it. You really do. And trust me, I am very much a secret safe with me type of person, especially when it comes to this. But when you're ready, you should hear it from everyone. You're doing an incredible thing. And I'm glad at least one of your, he looks around for a moment, good friends, co-workers is here with you through this.
I mean, that one was just genuine word. And she looks at Forged fondly. Forged is my friend. That's the word I would have used for him anyway.
He's a good friend. This isn't easy, even for others that aren't part of it. And he looks over to Forged. That was really brave of you to say anything. You didn't have to, and you did, so I'm proud of you too.
Forge tries to play it off a little bit, kind of leaning back in the chair. He'll just give a little shrug, like, I mean, ever since talking to the good old, he kind of looks around for a second, Wolverine guy, dude, kind of been on the whole train of not backing down and facing things head on, so.
Good for you. Well, like I said, I should get home, but if you ever need anyone to talk to, I guess we're in the same club now. Another one.
At least once a week. At least once a week, right?
Yeah, at least once. He then gives a smile, albeit a little bit weak, to both of you before he lifts a hand in farewell and heads for the doors.
Forge is gonna smile and nod back to him, give a little wave as he'll go over to Delphine's, hand over the keys, just toss them over and just say, "Hey, can you start up the car real quick? Well, I gotta go use the bathroom. You can go ahead."
She'll look at the keys and then nod. All right, I'll see you at the car.
So as Delphine heads out to the car, what are you doing, Forged?
Forge is going to go to the bathroom. The smile still on his face, waving to Delphine as he's walking over. As he gets in, he walks over to the sink. He puts his hands on either end of it and kind of looks up to the mirror, as there will be a smile on his face, As he kind of stares at it more, his eyes just aren't in it as much, as he just feels this sense of this should be more. This should be a greater moment here, a sense of happiness, of connection, but it feels like hollow. Like it's not as impactful as it should ever since his time, ever since what happened at the amphitheater and his talk with Fenris. Things have just not felt exactly the same. And as he kind of sits there for a moment, he just takes a deep breath in, looks at himself, and just reminds himself that this is for Delphine and that he has to put at least some sort of face on and show that this is the good.
As you're standing there looking in the mirror, the halogen light overhead starts to flicker. And in between flickers, you look in the mirror, and after a moment, you're not alone as the stall door behind you opens and a individual in a very oversized hoodie with the hood drawn all the way over their face and deep baggy pants steps out. Long time no see, friend.
Am I recognizing this voice as my friend from Ivor?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just making sure. Forge almost shits the brick as he kind of turns around very suddenly, just going, "Oh fuck! Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, dude! What are you doing here, dude? What the fuck?"
I thought I should find you. I learned something very, very useful that you would want to know.
A plethora of emotions going through his head right now. Just the fear of what the fuck, still reeling back from that. The interest in knowing what he's saying, but also the caution of like, what the fuck is going on here? As he'll just, okay, man, dude, you chose a bad fucking time, but what'd you learn? Do you want some more chickens? I can get you some later, man, if that's your cut here, what you need.
No, I'm eating very well lately. But I know where she is, and I can take you to her.
Forge just stops completely, frozen almost, as he'll lean in and say, "You can take me to her?"
Yes.
He looks towards the door, looks back to him. How long would it take?
I don't know. How long does getting your revenge take?
It's Forge. God, he contemplates it for a moment.
Doesn't have to be now. But when you're ready, I'll be waiting.
Can I take anyone else with me?
No. It would be too dangerous for them.
Forge stares at this hooded figure. Yeah, imagine like he's kind of was leaning back on the he backed up into the sink. His hands are kind of on it, gripping it. At this point, just tight grip. His knuckles are whitening, just as he's clenching the sink as he thinks about what he should do. And then when I have some shit I need to handle first. But once that's done, I'll find you.
Don't take too long. Besides, you don't want to lose another friend to her, do you?
Lose another? She's going after someone else?
She's always going after someone.
And for a moment, though, Forge suddenly kind of narrows his eyes at his friend, and he'll say, "Why are you doing this? Why are you helping me? He kind of almost like takes a step towards him, like a slight step towards him, and he'll grow big, like kind of make himself bigger. He'll say, You've been giving me some weird fucking vibe this whole time and doing all this weird shit, and now you have apparently a way for me to get to her? What do you want from this? What are you going to get from this?"
Freedom. But you already helped me with that a long time ago.
So I take her out, and you'll have your freedom?
Sure. Let's put it that way.
I want to insight that, if I can, with
Sure.
insight. I learned my lesson from trust last time. Oh, shit. No. Oh, 2 successes.
As far as you can tell, he is telling the truth.
Forge will step back then and nod to that. He'll say, "You'll get your freedom, and I'll get my revenge." As he goes to start walking past him now and leave the bathroom.
As you depart the bathroom, the door closing behind you, this is where we go to break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half of tonight's story.
St. Petersburg by Night is brought to you through collaborations with our partnered vendors, Chromatic Creations US, Panchi Artista, Ember Fox Dice, Devlin the Bard, Champs Tramps, and Howlin' Hop Tea. Links to our partnered vendors, as well as our Twitch and YouTube channels, can be found on our website, stpetebynight.com. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all socials with the hashtag St. Pete by Night. If you wish to support our program, you can do so at ko-fi.com/St. Pete by Night to help keep the stories rolling.
Welcome back. As we return from the break, we find ourselves at the cairn. It is late in the evening, although evening has come earlier these days, but it's around 11 o'clock at night. And Forged, you have found yourself going to the cairn with a very specific purpose: to speak with Eliza Ross, the Stargazer Rite Master, about some things that have been weighing heavily upon your mind. Why don't you tell us what are some of those things you wish to discuss with her?
Forge has been dealing with a lot of spirit stuff lately and has some questions on it, especially now with his dealing with Fenris and hearing voices in his head telling him certain emotions and feelings. He's not sure which is his own voice anymore and which is maybe a Bane or Fenris at times. So he is in need of some guidance on what to do, how to go about these, like what voice to trust, and especially about what price Fenris has took, and now especially this new this new discovery he has made now with his spooky friend, and whether or not to share that with her or even to trust this thing. It's been very apparent now this thing is not human or very probably good either, but what choice does he have if he wants to get his revenge?
As you exit the woods, entering into the clearing that is the cairn proper, you move over towards the RVs on the opposite side of the property. Outside, there's a camping chair with the footstool attachment that folds out, and Eliza is leaned back in the camping chair with her hands draped across her chest, staring up at the stars in the sky up above, putting credence to her tribe, the Stargazers. But as you approach, there's an empty camping chair next to her, and she, without even looking in your direction, says, "Good evening, Forged."
Forge will take note of the scene, looking up at the sky as well, as he'll walk on over, take a seat, as he'll say, "Sup, Eliza? It's, hadn't really talked all that much, huh?" He's like, laughs to himself a little bit as he looks up.
She's smiling, still staring up at the sky. "Well, I can't say I'm surprised to see you. It is your moon, after all."
Looks to the full moon and give a nod. He'll say, "I weird that I sort of like I always felt like I had some kind of weird. I don't know. It's should one like feel this special, super deep connection with their moon sign? Like every time you see it, you should like do something or feel a certain emotion? Because I've never had that too much, or is that just like a Theur's thing?"
Just because you don't actively recognize it doesn't mean that it's not there, Forged. You have a connection with the moon regardless of what cycle it's in. Luna has granted us many gifts, many powers. Luna is one of our closest allies. You may not know that you're feeling it at any given time. But those of a certain moon sign tend to get a little more active, maybe productive, maybe anxious or antsy. You've probably been feeling it, but not knowing what it was.
It makes sense, especially usually partying around or rolling around Ybor in the night or going to house parties in the middle of the night makes sense when I'm more active anyways.
Well, you're here, aren't you?
I guess that's the fate talking or whatever that is. Kind of sits there fidgeting for a moment, kind of think of how to phrase his question.
You know what I've always enjoyed about this time of night?
The peace and quiet.
Well, it's anything but quiet, but you just have to be listening to everything all around you. No, what I like most about this time of night, I feel like I can see more, see farther, realize the magnitude of our situation, but also realize just how small it is in the grand scheme of things. I look up at the sky, all those stars looking down on us. Think about the past, our ancestors, those that came before. But I also think of the science of it all. There are so many worlds out there, so many people out there. Life. While it, to some, might diminish our importance, to me, it just strengthens it.
Forge, consider that, kind of digest the information as he'll glance on over to Eliza as he'll say, I always found it tough to think about the whole, past deeds thing and other people shit when it feels like everything in our lives and stuff we gotta do is so big and crazy that, feels like you got no time to consider all the other stuff that happened, or like everyone else's shit is like must be 100 times smaller, or 100 times bigger.
Everyone has their own experience. What seems big to you might be small to others, and vice versa. It's all part of the great experience that is life, that is existence. As for thinking about the achievements of others, it's easy to get caught up in worrying about what others think about you now, how they view you, how they see you. Whether you want them to see you as strong, powerful, stronger than any other, or whether you don't want them to see you at all, not for who you truly are. But in reality, history is being written with every action that you take. How do you want to be remembered, Forged, versus how you want to be viewed now?
I feel like I had multiple people ask me that, to be honest, but it's always, I feel like always tough to give an answer, because for the longest time, didn't really feel like I exactly knew who I was, besides just the shit that everyone thought that I was. But I guess thanks to me and the weird persistence of my pack, I don't know why the fuck they stuck around, they saw more of me. So now I'm having to figure all this shit out and deal with also all the guru stuff, and kind of plays into what something I wanted to ask you about, which was how do you know when the voice in your head is yours, because I don't know, sometimes I get like the voice in my head and the urges I feel, it's been getting more difficult lately to know if they're really mine or someone else's.
In a way, they're all yours, Forged. Now, could they be attributed to other things as well? Certainly. But the reason you're hearing them is because it's calling upon something within you. It's drawn to something you're already feeling, something you're already experiencing. Banes, on their own, are just like any other spirits. What makes them terrifying, what makes them something to be battled against, is what they are drawn to, what they call upon, what they accentuate within us. They're not just going to show up and affect you. They're going to increase something you're already experiencing. Whether it's fear, anger, craving. These voices you hear. Tell me more about them.
Boris just kind of uncomfortably shifts in his chair, he'll say. Wisdom I have been kind of hearing lately, it's been kind of all over the place at times. I mean, I felt the thoughts of, I don't know if this is like the wolf or like just being Guru, but I know we're mad all the time, but I feel, like, sometimes I feel like overwhelming, you know? Like there's just being so pissed off at everything and just feeling the need to just get revenge for shit, you know? Feels like shit just keeps getting taken from me, or things around me keep getting broken or hurt and destroyed. I just want to do something about it, you know? Like I'm tired of just taking it all the time. It should be my turn to go back and swing myself and cause them to have something to cry about, you know?
One individual's revenge is a cause for another's revenge. It's a back and forth, endless game being played. A cycle. You felt you were wronged, and therefore you must do something in kind. But in doing so, you open yourself up to the opportunity of wronging another, and therefore giving them reason to seek revenge. You asked me, how do I know which voices are truly mine? Because I know what I want. I know what's important to me. And anything that speaks to the contrary, no matter how much it may call to a certain part of me, it's wrong. If it goes against what I believe, if it goes against what I want, if it would have me turning against my packmates or my sept, it violates my own personal values, and therefore it cannot be my voice, but something else attempting to impose itself upon me, attempting to redirect me. Maybe it's because I'm getting too close to something they don't want me to get close to. Maybe it's because we're succeeding in our fight. The better we get, the worse they want to make us.
It just feels like I'll be honest with you, Eliza. There's a lot of people I want to beat the fuck out of, and one of them is, that blonde bitch from Pentex. I want to kill her. I want to destroy her. I want to take away everything that she has, everything that she cares about, and have her feel what it feels like to have everything ripped from you, then tear her to pieces. And it feels like is that wrong? Like, it feels like that is what I should do, right? Because she's terrible and awful. So it's...
Of course
I
it's not wrong. Vanessa is a very evil being, a creature of seduction and corruption, a being of the worm. But the question is, would you be satisfied with her being gone, even if you weren't the one to do it? Does it have to be you, or is just ridding this world of her enough?
I want to do it. I want. She stared me in my eyes when she took away my friend. And I want to stare her in her eyes when I take away her fucking everything from her. Her mission, her company, all this bullshit.
Is it a want or is it a need for you? Because to want something allows for a space of disappointment should you not get it. A need is something you can't go without.
Finding it hard to know anymore if I need or want it. It's just, I think sometimes, especially there's this moment with Jester in which I was trying to teach me the Song of Rage, and I was trying to vent out my anger, my rage, my frustrations, and it's just felt like this voice in my head was egging me on and on more and more how I have to destroy things, have to get this revenge. And it wasn't until Fenris voice appeared in my head and drove off that other voice that sounded so much like my own, you know?
Believe it or not, and I know it's going to be hard to believe this, Fenris is not your enemy. Now I know you've been taught to fear them or to push them away, but in reality, you would have been taught the same thing about me. You would have been taught not to trust me, not to listen to me, that I am a threat of some kind. But all of these spirits, all of these things are only a threat to you if you let them nudge you off the path you wish to walk. If you want to know what's really important to you, if you want to discern which voice is truly yours, you have to become confident in the type of guru you wish to be. You have to know which path you wish to walk. And anything that tries to shove you off that path, depending on the path, of course. I'm not expecting you to go shattering the veil and tearing the city apart. But the true path, the path of fighting for Gaia, for protecting this place, for ridding this world of the worm's corruption, for bringing things back into its proper balance. That is the path we're meant to walk. Of course, it gets more complicated as we are individuals with feelings and needs and desires. But anything that would push you off that path you desire to go down, and I mean truly desire, not in the moment, not for a singular purpose, anything that changes you from who you wish to be as a guru, how you wish to be remembered, that is not your voice.
Yeah, kind of sucks now thinking about the fact that I forced myself to try and not care about anything for so long and just exist with no fucking purpose, that now that I actually have to have one, or want to have one, it's been kind of fucking hard. But it's been easier, at least, especially with my kid. Something got cleared up, at least, of what kind of guru, what kind of man I want to be.
Children have a way of doing that. Believe me, I know. Forged. I promise you, Vanessa will be dealt with. But what you have to decide, and this is a very important decision, so don't take it lightly. What's more important? That you do it or that it's done? Because if it's about you doing it, if it has to be you, then that means you might get in the way of your pack mates. That means the overall mission isn't what's important. That means your path is a short one. Because what comes after that? What is beyond that? Will it be enough? Will it be satisfying enough? Or will it just create a hunger for more?
Eliza, if I told you something that was kind of fucked, would you keep it on the down low, kind of keep it secret, at least for now?
Of course. You have my confidence, Forged. It's what I'm here to do.
We're wringing his hands right now as he struggles to muster not the kind of courage to trust Eliza in this moment, as he'll eventually say, I just got an opportunity recently. I was helping Delphine out with something, and when I was alone, I encountered something. I knew this thing since hell. It's nothing. I don't think it's anything good. It's drained the life out of chickens. It always hides itself, and it's weirdly present when it wants to find me, and I'm 100% sure it's not human or even leech. I don't know, but it given me information about Pentex and Piney Point. It told me about the stuff in the floors, and it just told me that he could get me revenge, that he could get me to her. And it's I don't know if this seems to be honest. It said that it's going to get freedom if I do this for him, but I it feels like that's what I should do, right? Like if I do this and take this offer and kill her, then that means mission accomplished, right? That's what be helping the pack, right? That's not selfish.
What has been one of the most difficult lessons for you to learn in being a guru?
That's a long fucking list of things, but thing that fucked me over the most was knowing who to trust and who not to trust. At least that's one of the things that kind of fucked me over a lot, especially with my friend.
Yes. And on top of that, to learn to need others, to rely on others and have them rely on you, to work as a team, to embrace the pack mentality. You weren't born a wolf, so it doesn't come second nature to you. It takes time and effort and a willingness to be vulnerable and allow others to be vulnerable with you. Now think carefully once more as to what this thing offered you. Did it offer you revenge, or did it offer you a means to revenge?
It said that I could get my revenge if I have to go with it alone. And it just feels, I don't know, it's like I have a chance to essentially take a shot at one of our biggest enemies, and I don't know. The the greatest I felt lately was during that mission we had with that other weird fungus vampire guy, and having everyone look at me and see me tear everything up and do great shit. And ever since then, it just felt like hollow. The only time I felt real, I guess, joy or sense of accomplishment has been in fighting and training. And ever since I talked with Fenris in that fight and had taken a deal from him, it just, if I take this, then I don't know. Probably not. I don't know if this makes any sense to you, but I just want that sense of accomplishment again. And if I could just kill her, I can get my revenge, and all you guys would be clapping and cheering my name as I come back with her head on a stick.
From everything that you've learned about Piney Point, about the threat that we face, do you truly believe you could do it alone? With all of the guru you see around you, guru that are older than you, stronger than you, wiser than you, if all it took was one of us to go there and solve the problem, don't you think we'd have done it already?
But I have an inside. I don't know. It's just I don't know what this game is. If I knew, I don't know. I'm facing an unknown here, and it just pisses me off. I just want to know what the right answer is, because it feels like this thing gave me some pretty useful, I guess not useful, or weird information about them before for nothing in return. And I fed this thing weird chickens and did whatever the hell with it. So I just wish it was more clear of an answer, because it feels like the good answer here to say is like, don't take the path of revenge and do all that. But if she kills someone again that matters to me, to us, would it be my fault at that point that I didn't take the shot?
Certainly not. No, if anything, it would just mean that we weren't ready or fast enough. This first piece of useful information it gave you, what did it lead to?
Abomination and a floorboard that me and Charles had to burn alive.
You think you could have done it by yourself?
No, no, to be honest, that shit was fucking terrifying. I would have hauled my ass away from there.
A true friend wouldn't send you into something that could mean your end. What you are experiencing is temptation. Something is playing upon your desire for revenge or your greed and is using it to manipulate you. The reason you succeeded in that first encounter is because you were not alone. Now, this same entity wants to separate you from everyone else, wants to take you into the heart of the volcano alone. What about that is helping you?
When you put it like that, it sounds such like a simple answer. And it probably is. I'm just...
Of course it's not simple. Don't be a dullard, Forged. It's not simple. It's complicated because it's something that you want. If it wasn't, you wouldn't be tempted. If it wasn't, you'd be able to think logically. But that's not how these spirits work. They are preying upon your desires. They are reaching out to what you want, to take you away from what you need. It's not simple. And other guru, stronger guru, wiser guru, more powerful guru than you have fallen prey to their temptations. You would not be the first, and you won't be the last. But you have an opportunity. In just having this very conversation with me, you have doubt. That doubt is your greatest friend right now. Because if it smells like a trap, if it looks like a trap, if it sounds like a trap, it's most likely a trap.
Forge currently leaning forward, nodding to this, looking around, not at the stars anymore, but more towards the darkness of the cairn, kind of almost reminding him in a way of this entity, his friend, quote unquote, as he contemplates Eliza's words. And so he will say, I guess this is why the urge is a whole job in itself, huh? Spirits are kind of assholes and plays all sorts of tricks and make things all the more fucking complicating.
Not all spirits, but yes. And to be honest, look around you. Look at the people, the guru that you share space with. More than one of them has succumbed to temptation. What good did it do them?
after a moment of silence, Forge will now fully look at Eliza and just say, "You don't think that I'm doomed, am I? I know in the past, Delphine did some vision things and talked about weird spirals and wolves and that talking to Ember also mentioned this spiral. And do you what like is fated for me to fall for these things and to fall to their temptations?"
The fact that you've asked that very question makes me believe that you're not. My belief is that you don't have to walk down that path if you don't want to. You don't have to succumb to such a fate if you don't want to. The reason they are seeing those things is perhaps because of where you were headed at that time. But you've changed since then, Forged. You've learned. Every day is a new opportunity and a new experience. You are not the same guru you were when you first arrived here. Therefore, your fate has changed also.
Before silently take that in, kind of letting the silence hang for a moment, that he will just let out a deep sigh. I don't want to be some terrible fucking guy. I just don't know what to do. I've learned that the new fucking dude here, fucking Larry, he's the one that fucked up Damien. And I just feel nothing but the urge to just want to knock his fucking teeth out for it. Because how am I supposed to go back to Damien and look him in the eyes? And now I have this weird fucking thing telling me to go to Vanessa and go on her one-on-one, maybe kill her. And now I have Fenris who stuck his fucking claw in me, and ever since then everything just feels worse. It's just, I'm worried, Eliza. I don't want to fall to either of those things, and I just need to know that you guys won't let me.
We can only do so much, Forged. I assure you, the guru in this cairn want nothing but the best for you. But at the end of it all, no matter how much effort we put in, it comes down to you. It comes down to you making the decision that supports your true values, the decision that will define how you are remembered. You are strong, not just in body, but in mind and spirit. To think anything less is folly. Well, I'm sure you have been dubbed amongst your group and your group as a whole as Gaia's mistakes. Gaia doesn't make mistakes. She provides opportunities. This is your moment, your opportunity to either prove them right or prove them wrong. Of course, you feel anger towards Larry for injuring your friend. Of course, you feel tempted to go after Vanessa directly and alone. But I have found the strongest guru, no patience, no teamwork, no forgiveness. If you want answers, you can get them, not with your fists or your fangs, but with a conversation. And if after that conversation you don't feel satisfied, you have all rights to a challenge. But just like that quest for vengeance, is there any amount of satisfaction that will truly be enough?
Borge now just leaning back, looking up at the sky, partially because he knows the tears won't come out if he looks up and keeps blinking, as he'll say, I don't know, but you're right. I'll at least try and have a conversation with him more, and I probably should bring Ray, he's a lot more calm-headed than I am, so if I start getting pissed off, he can at least start making sure I don't do anything too stupid.
That's a good idea.
And I'll tell my pack about what that thing said and see what they think.
That's very brave and very, very smart. Your pack has your best interest at heart, believe it or not. Because you are a part of them, as are they a part of you. The pack bond is one of the most important bonds you'll ever experience. They're your family.
You know, like half a year ago, I would have said you're full of shit and that was a bunch of bullshit, but I can start seeing that now, even, you know, might like some more than others. I at least know they all have my back, and I'll at least help them out through their shit.
How good did it feel supporting Delphine?
There was a faint smile on Forge's face that kind of fades at that ask as he'll say, it didn't feel as good as it should have. There were some parts that did feel nice and felt really fucking good, but I don't know. Have you ever had that moment when you are having a great time and then suddenly you just feel that hollow sense like everything is kind of wrong, that you aren't as much there as you thought you were, and you just realize that smile you're holding is kind of forced at this point?
I lived that existence for 10 years, Forged. And worse. When I lost my son, when I lost my children, I lost myself. You said that Fenris took something from you. In reality, you just lost something. But, and I'm telling you this from the most certain experience ever, it doesn't have to be lost forever. You can get it back. Or you can continue to lose. You can continue to watch it all slip away, all the joy in the world. This fight takes a toll on all of us. There's a reason it has a name, Piranha. Because every guru is at risk of it. Every guru experiences it or touches upon it at some point. And whether this makes you look down upon me or not, the strong ones can withstand it, can push through it, can recover from it. But it doesn't make you any weaker for feeling that weight upon your soul, for feeling the heaviness in your shoulders. This war is a burden no one individual would be able to bear. And that is why we have pacts. That is why we have septs. Because together, there is no burden we can't shoulder.
It does help that that moment with Delphine was, I think, the best I felt ever since that fight. It was pretty fucking good. And I just don't want this to be forever. I just don't want this to be my fate, to just either be some screaming lunatic charging into every fucking fight and, dying at a year from now, or being depressed and deciding that the world has to die and killing everything. And it's just, I appreciate the guidance, Eliza. I guess that's why the years are known as guides too. You got a lot of wisdom.
Yes. We can only guide those who are willing to listen and follow. From the sounds of it, you're almost there. That good feeling you got in helping Delphine, no amount of revenge will give you that feeling.
If it isn't too much to ask, did you ever lose someone and get revenge for it?
Did you not hear the bit about my children and my son?
I know, but I'm asking about the revenge part. Did you also have something like that too?
Yes. But I didn't do it. I had to be okay with someone else doing it. And I was. Because what was more important to me than all of the revenge was knowing that my child found rest, that they were able to pass on. And they did get avenged. And I wasn't even there to see it. But do I regret it? No. Because it was more important to me that it was done. And it has been.
kind of seemingly satisfies Forge as he stares up at the stars, seeing a bit more shine to them, a bit more of a beauty to them now after this conversation, and especially in the moon, as he'll just ask Eliza, "Do you mind if I sit here with you for a little while longer? I just never really took a good look at the sky like this in a while."
I always enjoy the company. There's nothing more beautiful than sharing a moment like this with family. Because while it is beautiful alone, it is gorgeous together.
I can drink to that, Eliza. I can drink to that.
As you settle back in the lawn chair, looking up at the stars, little diamonds high up in the sky, looking at the moon, full, your moon, your sign. You don't feel so alone. You don't feel so lost. You don't feel angry. Roll me a composure and resolve.
All right. Oh, 4 successes, crit.
As you breathe in this moment, as you appreciate it for what it truly is, as Eliza's words move through your mind, you lose a point of Hirano. And with that, we move on to our final scene of the evening. Juniper, you have been tasked with a very important job by the Sept leadership. After the departure of Lucas, there was a project left unfinished. While it's most of the way done, the most important part of it still remains to be completed. You have the molds, you have the iron, but now you have to finish it. You have to put the two together. And what makes it even more difficult, you can't use heat. This will be pure force, pure muscle to craft a spear that will be used to slay the monstrosity that has been terrorizing the landscape. The monstrosity that killed the changelings. So, as you lay out the pieces in front of you, the heavy hammer that will be used to turn this pile of iron into a spear. You sit in the cairn, possibly the most peaceful place you can be, hoping that the spirits will grant you strength, hoping that you have what it takes. What's going through your mind?
Well, honestly, there's a few emotions kind of fighting each other a little bit internally. I am still frustrated at not being able to do my best during our big fight, and still having these fucking dead parents of Delphine's just causing chaos in my life. I'm really hoping that they actually stay away right now so that I can do this, because it's probably the most important undertaking I've had since becoming a guru, pretty much. Or at least that's how it feels right now. So not too much pressure, you know?
So as you curl your fingers around the hammer, placing the iron into the mold, as you lift the hammer to strike, roll me a composure and resolve.
What rage am I at?
So you're at a rage 2 due to your frustration with the haunting that you're experiencing.
Okay. Three successes.
As you lift the hammer to strike, a chill fills the air, sending the hair on the back of your neck to stand up, your skin breaking out in goose flesh. Oh, look, darling. She's about to do something very, very important. Is she? We had important things to do too, once. It'd be a shame if they were taken away.
Well, unlike you fuckers, I'm actually trying to save the planet instead of destroy it, so...
You don't know what we were doing. You only think you know.
Well, you know, all those letters to my house with your name on it, and the phone calls and the threats kind of give a pretty clear picture.
And that justifies murder?
Considering all of the people whose murders you're responsible for, yes.
And what about the cannibalism?
Nothing wrong with cannibalism. Plenty of tribes do it across the planet.
Yes, I'm sure the worm would agree with you on that.
As long as everything's in balance, it's okay.
Is it in balance?
No, it's not. Because of people like you.
And like you.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm fighting the bad guys and doing what's right.
I'm sure that's what you tell yourself. Does that help you sleep at night?
No, I'm too busy having nightmares about the family you guys fucking murdered.
Then maybe it's what you deserve. Maybe we can help with that.
Not interested. Why don't you go bother your daughter and try and convince her to kill us?
As if you have a choice. You took us into you. You can deal with it.
Does that mean I have that dog too? I'm sure they'd be a lot better company than you fuckers.
confident. Well, don't let us stop you from this important task. Or maybe we should, to show everyone else what you truly are. Selfish.
How am I selfish? I'm just like holding the hammer above this cold iron that I'm supposed to be shaping. I'm just like talking to myself.
How do you think you're selfish?
I mean, I feel like I've been on a pretty good streak of being selfless lately.
Oh, good. So that erases everything that came before.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not a time traveler, so I can't fix anything from the past. Neither can you guys because you're both dead.
If this has taught you anything, it should teach you that death isn't the end of the story.
Wish it was for the both of you.
And I'm sure those wishes have served you well.
Well, it served me well enough that Delphine won't kill the both of us, and we're all still alive and kicking, so...
For now. But go on. Get on with it then. Take 2 points of superficial willpower damage, and you are at a -2 to all rolls. Strength and athletics for the first strike.
Can I switch into my Glabro form?
Yes, go ahead and make the rage check.
I passed.
Okay, so as you grow into your demi-human form, the hammer feels lighter in your hand, but you can't help but still feel a weight pressing down upon you.
Five successes.
As you bring down the hammer and strike, sparks fly off of between the hammer and the metal. You feel it dent and crease as it's supposed to, as it starts to slowly fill into the mold with that strike. But as you strike, you feel a strong reverberation go up your arm and into your mind like a sudden piercing headache. Take another point of superficial willpower damage. Well,
Right.
go on. You've got this.
It would be a lot easier if you both would just go away.
You don't get that right.
Leave it a fucking Pentax to integrate their employees on the astral fucking realms. And I'll go to hit the hammer again.
All right, another strength and athletics.
Four successes this time.
While not as solid of a strike as the last one, you're still making progress. You're still seeing the metal take shape. But once again, The reverberating shoots up your arm, leaving a pins and needles feeling in your palm, and you take another point of superficial willpower damage.
Are you guys messing with this? What are you doing?
I don't know what you're talking about. Making up excuses for your failure again?
I'm not the one with the name forged from failures.
No. I supposed you'd be called Feast in Failures.
Ha ha ha, very fucking original. And I'll go for another swing.
Okay, strength and athletics.
At this point, would my rage be up to a 3? Because I am just very frustrated and
Yeah.
the willpower is sinking.
Absolutely.
Three successes.
Okay. As you hit again, feeling that numbness fill your arm, you find yourself hitting the mold more than the metal. And while it does dent slightly, you feel the progress is slowing. And if you don't pick up the pace, you're going to have to be at this for a while. If you don't get more successful strikes, it is going to take a long time to make this into anything of use. She's not willing to say it, even if it would help her. Of course not. She's too proud.
Say what?
Why should we help you?
I just roll my eyes and I put the hammer down and just take a moment to breathe, look up at the sky, put my hands on my hips, look around, put my hand across my face, just taking a breath, trying to compose some answer and not just scream in rage right now. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it would make your daughter happy to, see this nice, cool weapon get made. Give her some hope. Don't you care about your daughter or anything?
We did. When we were alive.
So you don't now that you're dead? Is that how that works? You just lose that?
What about you? Don't you care about her?
I do not immediately answer.
Do you know why they hate you?
Why, who hates me?
You tell me. You're the one who feels it.
I don't feel like anybody hates me.
Ignorant, too. How charming. They hate you because you're so easy to hate. You have no love left in your body.
That's not true.
Oh.
There's love in there.
For
Definitely.
one? Enough for one? How generous.
There's more than one. I've grown to have quite a fondness for quite a few people here, actually. Thank you very much.
Who?
I feel like giving you that information is just going to be used against me further in the future.
You act as if we don't know, as if we're not inside you.
I mean, just because you're inside me, and I do like little air quotes into the air, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can see each and every single part of my existence and psyche.
Oh, foolish girl. I bet your family is glad to be away from you. Maybe they were done a favor.
Maybe. They're dead now and I can't talk to them. Whatever.
No, but we can.
Yes. More people that just bully others and terrorize them and then get mopey when all of that karma comes back onto them.
Oh, the Juniper Camine story. We're learning that story very well.
No, I believe my story started out with my family being terrorized my entire life growing up, but then getting murdered. And then me going out and like my little revenge saga. And then maturing.
And how does that feel? Are you full yet?
I mean, I haven't eaten in a good while, so I think I've been pretty satiated.
Sure you have. I'm sure if provided another opportunity, another chance, another meal, you'd turn it down.
Depends if I remember to eat beforehand, I guess.
And how's your food been tasting lately?
It all tastes like food.
As usual, she lies to herself. Well, time's ticking, and the hammer's waiting.
Oh, what is your point right now? What is happening here? I can't tell if you're here to just genuinely annoy the shit out of me or if there's some underlying intent.
We're just the consequences of your actions. That's all. I know that word falls upon deaf ears. But you did this. You made this happen. You think we want to be here? You think we want to be with you? You think we want to be inside you? Hardly.
Okay, so since none of us want to be in this situation, what is the quickest way I can get rid of you? Both of you.
Do you feel sorry at all for becoming the thing that you hate most?
What is the thing that I hate most?
An orphan maker.
Delphine was already orphaned by the both of you.
Not in her mind. Not in our hearts.
You guys let her go on a grand adventure, and she had been living by herself, struggling by herself, becoming an adult by herself. You guys stopped parenting long before I was even involved in any of that.
You can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. Again, something you're very familiar with, I'm sure.
I mean, if that was some weird stab at me, I have been being vulnerable and getting help and working with this Cairn, but okay.
Oh, good for you. I'm sure they'll award you a medal.
I don't need a medal.
You will suffer as you have made others suffer.
Okay. And I will pick up the hammer again and just accept that they're not going to go away.
Okay, this time give me a strength and craft.
Or successes.
Okay. You slam the hammer down upon the metal, and it dents further into the mold. You take another superficial willpower for your efforts, but it does look like it's starting to take shape. She's a strong one, as strong in her arm as she is in her conviction. Misguided, both.
And what should my convictions be instead, O great wise ones?
Don't ask us, like you said, we're dead. You saw to that.
Then what was the point of saying that to begin with?
We only say what deep down, buried under all of the anger and guilt, frustration and failure, revenge and bloodlust, you know to be true. Let me ask you, if it came down to you saving Gaia, or you destroying all of Pentex, which would you choose?
What does saving Gaia entail?
This isn't that kind of game. Answer the question.
Well, presumably saving all of Gaia involves destroying Pentex, so I would probably save Gaia.
You lie.
I said exactly what I meant to say.
It's an awful big assumption, assuming that Pentex would be gone for Gaia to be saved.
Well, that's why I asked what that would entail, but you didn't want to give me the answer, so...
Should it matter? Your purpose, so they say, is to save Gaia. Nothing else comes above it. Nothing else matters, right? If your motivations for saving Gaia are destroying Pentex, then you're not saving Gaia.
Man, if we're going based off that, then I'm pretty sure there's a lot of guru out there that need to be having the same conversation.
Oh, I'm sure there are. But they didn't eat us.
See them.
Well, go on then. Finish your precious weapon. We have all the time in the world to have this conversation.
Well, I guess it's a good thing that guru don't live long, and I'll swing the hammer again.
Okay, strength and craft.
That is only 2 successes.
Okay, as you go to swing the hammer down, instead you just find yourself burying it in the dirt next to the mold.
I just sigh and put the hammer back down and take a drink from the water bottle I have with me.
As you drink from the water bottle, you just end up feeling like you're pouring sand into your mouth.
I cough and spit out the water and angrily throw the water bottle before like sitting down fully and putting my head in my glabro hands, just hiding my head in them.
You gonna get that, or are you gonna litter on your precious Gaia?
I don't answer. I just still stay there, just taking deep breaths, trying to calm myself down.
Give me another composure and resolve. Don't forget the -2.
Yep. That's 3 successes. That's it. That's all. I got 3 dice. I got 3 successes on each.
Okay. Just as much as you take those deep, calming breaths, your rage maintains the same, but that goose pimply, hair sticking up feeling won't fade.
Just go away.
We would have said that too had you given us the chance.
You didn't give my family a chance.
We didn't pull the trigger.
Those men were talking about you guys. I heard them.
And we have justifications too.
Of killing a family in their home while they're sleeping in the middle of the night?
Well, if you can justify murder and cannibalism, I don't see how we're much worse.
I'm not just going around eating random citizens that aren't doing anything.
No, just dogs and laborers.
He knew who he was working for.
You assume everyone knows as much as you do. You assume everyone's as privileged as you are. No, they don't have a sept to baby them and care for them. They have to work for a living.
I work. I'm not being babied. I literally have a job.
Yes, the professional hiker. Bravo.
You know, getting outside and touching grass is actually a really nice thing. You guys should try it sometime. Get out of my head a little bit.
You have to have something to touch grass with.
I'm sure if you guys put your little wispy minds to it, you'll figure it out.
Maybe you're right. Maybe we should put our minds to it. Be unfortunate if it was in a very important moment. But you've inspired us, Juniper. Maybe there's some things we didn't know we could do. Maybe we just need a body.
Oh, great.
Roll a wits and resolve.
That is 5 successes with a crit.
You feel your vision start to get hazy and start to darken, but as you take a deep breath, you feel it clear once more. Oh, she's a strong one today. We can get stronger too.
Or you could just leave, get stronger somewhere else, away from me. Preferably away yonder, the deep Umbra areas.
Not until we've finished our business.
And what is your business again?
Reuniting our family and getting rid of the pestilence that separated us.
Wasn't the one that separated you. You guys were separated to begin with. It's not my fault you couldn't fix the rift that had grown between you and your daughter. It's not my responsibility.
Keep telling yourself that as we continue to melt your mind. Continue to destroy your body. Continue to ruin your life.
If it means I don't have to hear you for much longer, sure.
Good to know. Maybe this will be easier than we thought. Well, are you prepared to finish the job?
Are you prepared to stay quiet and let me?
Why does it have to be mutually exclusive? Your mind is so strong. Your body is so strong. Why should we distract you?
Guess not. And I will pick up the hammer and just stare at it. And with the last, just bits of whatever self-discipline I have left, I just start swinging.
Give me another strength and craft.
Well, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. I got a brutal outcome.
As you swing the hammer down, striking with such force and strength, the mold shatters. The spear isn't complete. It's some of the way there. But without the mold, the job can't truly be finished. I think that's enough for today. See you tonight in your dreams.
Congrats, you got what you wanted. Yay.
You feel the goosebumps along your arms settle. You feel the hair on the back of your neck settle. Everything becomes still and quiet. You can hear the flames licking at the wood nearby in the bonfire. You can hear crickets out in the trees. What do?
I'm just standing there, staring down at the shattered mold, holding the unfinished weapon in my hand, the hammer in the other, and I'm just staring.
As you hold the pieces, the hammer feels a little bit heavier. The spear feels a little bit colder. But your anger feels a little bit hotter. This is where our story comes to a close this evening, but not without one last scene. Our final scene takes us to the parking lot of Piney Point, where pallets are being wheeled out by employees, quote unquote, of the factory. The employees, instead of being large, overly muscled, covered in moss, grotesque looking creatures. As they align the pallets, one next to the other, prepared to be loaded, we see Vanessa standing nearby, overseeing the whole process, marking things off on a clipboard as she goes. The noise of the work is suddenly broken. I have an update. Oh? And what's that? I found your boyfriend. And he might be coming to see you. Very, very soon. I look forward to the reunion. I've got a gift for him. And that's where the scene comes to a close. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you to everybody watching at home. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media and links down below. And come join our community by following that Discord link. We'll be back with another episode of Rage Across Tampa over on Twitch on Tuesday. And back next week with another episode of Hellhounds right here on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely night.
With the path, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide.
This has been a St. Petersburg by Night production. Hounds is produced in agreement with the World of Darkness and Dark Pack. The storyteller for Hounds is Kent. Tonight's characters were voiced by Jay, Lilith, Ben, Nikki, and Katie. Visit our website at stpetbynight.com for more information about all of our productions and how you can become a part of our community. Thank you for listening. Until next time, fangs, stakes, and claws out.